I never thought I'd pull a gun on family, not until that bitch held one to my son's throat. Metaphorically speaking, with her venomous demands and that fake-ass smile plastered across her Botoxed face. It started with a single text. Mom, we need your help. Or else. Or else what? She'd already bled me dry for years. But this was the line she crossed, dragging up skeletons I'd buried deeper than my husband's grave. And just like that, in the dead of a Nashville night, I decided, no more playing the doting mother-in-law. Time to rewrite the goddamn script, even if it meant burning the whole theater down. The rain hammered the roof of my old craftsman house like it was trying to wash away the sins of the South. But sins like mine, they stick like kudzu. I'm Riley Harlan, 58 years young. Or so I tell the mirror on bad days. Widowed a decade now. Scraping by on a pension from the county clerk's office and the occasional freelance editing gig for those self-published romance novels that make me blush more than they pay. My son, Jake. He's the light of my life, or was, until he married that viper, Cassandra Cassie Beaumont. She slithered into our world 5 years ago, all Long Island polish and daddy's money, fresh off a Vanderbilt sorority pledge. Jake fell hard, the way 29-year-old engineers do when a girl with legs for days and a laugh like champagne bubbles bats her lashes. I should have seen the red flags waving like Confederate banners at a tailgate. Cassie came from old New York money, Beaumont imports, the kind that shipped artisanal cheeses and whispered about laundering something shadier on the side. But she played the Southern belle to perfection, drawling her vowels just enough to charm the Chamber of Commerce crowd at Jake's firm holiday parties. Riley, darlin', your deviled eggs are to die for, she'd coo, while her eyes scanned the room for bigger fish. Jake built bridges for the city, literal ones, over the Cumberland. But Cassie? She built cages. It all boiled over last summer. But the roots? They go back 15 years. To that humid July night when Jake was just 14, all gangly limbs and dreams of NASA. I'd come home early for my shift at the clerk's. The air thick with the scent of magnolias and something metallic, blood. It turned out. Jake stood in the kitchen, white as a ghost, his hands trembling over a pool of red on the linoleum. My husband, Tom, God rest his stubborn soul, lay slumped against the cabinets, a hunting knife buried in his gut. Not deep enough to kill outright, but enough to make him bleed out slow if I hadn't gotten the paramedics there in 12 minutes flat. Tom survived, barely. 2 surgeries, a month in ICU, and a lifetime of pain pills that turned him into a shadow. But the cops? They smelled booze on his breath, 2 fingers of bourbon after a long day at the auto shop, and figured it for a domestic mishap. Knife slipped while he was carving up a steak. They said, case closed. No charges. Except I knew better. Jake's eyes that night weren't scared of his daddy's accident. They were haunted, like he'd stared into the abyss and blinked first. He confessed to me a week later, whispering it over lukewarm sweet tea on the back porch while cicadas screamed. Mom, I didn't mean to. He was yelling about my grades, about how I'd never amount to shit like him. And I just grabbed the knife to scare him. Tom's rage had been building for years, PTSD from Nam. They called it later. But back then it was just mean drunk. Jake swung wild, nicked the blade across Tom's side before I burst in. The boy thought he'd killed his own father. I covered it up. Lied to the detectives. Said I'd seen the whole thing. That Tom was waving the knife around like a fool. Took the heat myself. Whispers around town that I was the unhinged one, enabling a drunk. Lost friends. My standing at church. But Jake? He got therapy, straight A's, Vanderbilt engineering scholarship, clean slate. That secret? It was our pact, sealed with tears and a pinky swear under the harvest moon. Tom never knew the full truth. He died thinking it was his fault, mumbling apologies from his hospice bed. And Cassie? She sniffed it out like a bloodhound on a fox hunt. Fast forward to now. It's December in Nashville, the kind where the Opry lights twinkle against a sky heavy with holiday cheer and unspoken grudges. Jake and Cassie's anniversary bash was the talk of Green Hills, black tie affair at the Hermitage Hotel, string quartet, caterers from that fusion spot downtown slinging crab beignet and moonshine mules. 500 guests, including the mayor and half the Titans roster. Cost? A cool $100,000. Easy. Jake's bonus from the firm covered most. But Cassie had her eyes on my nest egg, the one I'd squirreled away from Tom's life insurance and my own sweat. It started with casual hints. Riley, the venue's so pricey, a little top-up from you would mean the world. Then calls from her financial advisor, some slick Wall Street type who sounded like he hawked timeshares. By Thanksgiving, it escalated. Jake cornered me in the den, puppy dog eyes and all. Mom. Cassie's stressed. The baby's coming in April, and this party's our last hurrah. Just $10,000? For old time's sake. $10,000. My entire emergency fund, the buffer against the cancer that nipped at Tom's heels or the Alzheimer's that took my own last spring. I said no, polite as pecan pie. Jake sulked. Cassie iced me out. Then the text hit my phone at 2 a.m. Last Tuesday, while I was nursing a glass of Cabernet and scrolling Zillow for a one-bedroom downtown, dreaming of ditching the ghosts in this house. No, Mom. We know about the knife. Jake told me everything. Help with the party, or I go to the DA. Statutory limits are up. But assault on a parent? That's felony territory. Think of the baby. Think of Jake's career. Wire the money by Friday, or the invites get RSVPs from reporters. My blood turned to ice water. Cassie, you scheming cunt. How long had she known? Jake swore her to secrecy last year, after one too many martinis at a fundraiser. She loves me, Mom. It's safe. Safe as a snake in the garden. I didn't sleep. Paced the creaky oak floors till dawn, the weight of that old lie pressing down like the Tennessee humidity. By sunrise, I was in my Corolla, gunning it to the federal building downtown, not to confess. Hell no. To lawyer up. Old Harlan McGee, who'd handled Tom's estate, met me in his leather-scented office overlooking the Parthenon replica. Riley, love. This is blackmail. Plain and simple. Felony under Tennessee Code 39-17-308. We countersue. Expose her. Expose her? And drag Jake through the mud? The boy who'd clawed his way to respectability, only to knock up his gold-digging wife? No. This was personal now. Cassie wanted war. I'd give her scorched earth. Nashville style, slow burn, with a fiddle solo. First move, the money. I wired it. $10,000. Every penny. With a note, for the future. Love, Mom. Watched the confirmation ping on my banking app. Felt the knot in my gut loosen just a hair. Then I got to work. Pulled every string from my clerk days. Charmed the event planner at the Hermitage, a girl I'd mentored back when she was interning. Darlin', Cassie's got cold feet. Cancel the block booking. Refund what you can to her card. Lies? Sure. But effective. By noon, the quartet was rebooked for a bar mitzvah in Franklin. Caterers? Diverted to a corporate gala. The florist, oh, sweet Jesus. The peonies Cassie obsessed over, rerouted to a funeral home in Murfreesboro. I sat in my kitchen, sipping black coffee strong as regret, and forwarded the cancellation emails to her. CC Jake. Subject: surprise gift, breathing room. Her response was a voice note, shrill as a banshee. You frigid bitch. Do you know what you've done? The mayor's flying in from D.C. Jake's humiliated. I hit play on my Bluetooth speaker, let it echo off the vaulted ceilings. Laughed till my sides ached. Cry me a river. Cassie. You started this. But she wasn't done. That night, she showed up on my doorstep, 9 weeks pregnant and furious, rain dripping from her designer trench like tears from a false idol. Jake trailed behind, hands in his pockets, avoiding my eyes. Wryly she spat, shoving past me into the foyer, her Louboutins clicking like gunfire on the hardwood. This isn't over. You think canceling a party fixes your little family secret? Jake's a monster because of you, letting him think he was the villain all these years. Monster? My boy. Who volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House every Sunday. Who built that playground for underprivileged kids in East Nashville last spring. I grabbed her arm, gentle but firm, steered her to the living room couch. The one with the Afghan my ma crocheted. Jake sank into the armchair, looking like a kicked pup. Sit, I said, voice steady as the Cumberland in flood. We talk this out. No cops. No wires. Just truth. Truth. That's what she wanted. Right? So I laid it bare. The knife. The blood. Tom's rages that left bruises on all of us. How I'd shouldered the blame to give Jake a shot at life. Not a juvie record or therapy bills we couldn't afford. You think blackmail makes you strong. Cassie, it makes you small. Like that time you borrowed from your daddy's accounts to fund your little startup flop, the one Jake bailed you out of with his signing bonus. Her eyes widened, that porcelain mask cracking. How did you? No? Small world. Darlin'. Your cousin's ex works at the SEC. Loose lips. I dug. After the text. Hired a PI on retainer, old habit from Tom's messy divorce threats back in the day. Cassie's import business? More like a front for fencing knockoff designer bags from overseas. Petty. But enough to tank Jake's security clearance if it leaked. Jake's head snapped up. Cass, is that true? She whirled on him. Claws out. Don't you dare side with her. She's poisoning you against me. Like always. I did this for us, for the baby. Your mother's the one who lied. Who made you into this? This guilty shell. The room spun with accusations. The air thick as sorghum syrup. Jake stood, torn between us, like the Mason-Dixon line. Mom. Cass. Stop. But we didn't. She lunged for her phone, dialing some ambulance chaser, no doubt, while I blocked the door, heart pounding like bass at a Luke Bryan concert. That's when I made the bold move, the one that'd haunt my dreams but steal my resolve. I pulled the .38 from the hall closet, the one Tom kept loaded for varmints. Clicked the safety off. Held it low but steady. Barrel pointed at the floor. Not at her, never at her. Not with the baby in play. But enough to freeze the blood in her veins. Put the phone down. Cassie. We're ending this tonight. My way. Her face drained of color. that smug veneer shattering like cheap crystal. Jake gasped,
Mom.
"What the hell?" But I saw it, the flicker in his eyes. The same haunted look from that kitchen night. Recognition. We'd both crossed lines for love, for family. Now, it was her turn to choose. The standoff lasted minutes, but it felt like the whole damn Civil War replaying in my living room. Brother against brother. Blood against blood. Cassie clutched her phone like a lifeline, thumb hovering over the call button, her free hand cradling that barely there bump under her cashmere sweater. Rain lashed the windows, turning the world outside into a watercolor blur, while inside, the only sound was our breathing, mine measured, hers ragged, Jake somewhere in between, like a man drowning in denial. "Put it down," I repeated, the revolver's weight a cold anchor in my palm. Tom's old Smith & Wesson, nickel-plated and etched with his initials, RH. For Harlan.
Not me.
But it fit now. I'd never fired it sober. But the heft? It grounded me. A reminder that survival in the South wasn't about magnolias and manners. It was about drawing the line when the kudzu crept too close. Cassie's lips curled. That sorority snarl she saved for waitstaff who forgot her extra olives. "You're insane, Riley." Waving a gun at a pregnant woman? That's assault. "Jake, call 911. Tell them your psycho mother-in-law's lost it." Jake didn't move. He stared at me, then her. The betrayal etching lines on his boyish face that no amount of Botox could fix. "Cass, did you really threaten to go to the cops? About what I did?" His voice cracked. That engineer's precision fracturing under the strain. She faltered. Just a hair, the queen bee stung. It was a bluff, to make her see reason. "We're family."
Jake.
Families contribute, but her eyes darted to the gun. Calculating. Cassie Beaumont didn't bluff. She bluffed like a poker pro at the Bellagio. All tells hidden behind designer shades. I'd seen her type in those true crime podcasts I binged on slow nights, trophy wives with knives sharper than their heels. I lowered the .38 inch, but kept my stance wide. Feet planted like the oaks in Centennial Park. Family? That's rich. Coming from the girl who ghosted her own ma after the inheritance dried up. Or the one who forgot to mention her DUI in Knoxville last fall. The one that could have cost Jake his license when you borrowed his truck. The PI's report burned in my mind. Photos of her weaving through traffic. Mugshot glow still fresh. I'd buried that too. Pulled strings with a judge friend from the clerk's days. Cost me a favor. But Jake drove home safe. "You hacked me," she hissed. Phone finally slipping to the coffee table with a clatter. Victory. Small but sweet. Protected. Like always. I glanced at Jake, willing him to see it, the web I'd spun not to trap, but to shield. Son. She knew about the knife for months. Used it like a club.
But me?
I carried it for 15 years.
For you.
He rubbed his temples, the weight of it all crashing down. I told her because, God,
Mom,
I thought it would bring us closer. Like therapy or something. Couples counseling. His laugh was bitter, hollow as a moonshine jug. She said it made her love me more. That we all had darkness. Darkness.
Yeah, we did.
Cassie sank onto the couch, deflating like a punctured tire, her hand finally resting on her belly. I was scared. Okay, the baby's gonna need stability. Your mom's house? It's falling apart. And that party, it was supposed to be our launch.
Jake.
into the elite circle. Sponsors for my new venture, the ethical fashion line. Ethical. From the woman who'd fenced fakes? The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. I holstered the gun, slid it back into the closet with a soft thunk, and poured 3 fingers of bourbon from Tom's decanter, the amber liquid glinting like fool's gold. Handed glasses to them both. Kept mine. To darkness, I toasted, clinking against the silence. May it not swallow us whole. We talked till the rain eased to a drizzle, the clock ticking past 4 a.m. Jake spilled it all, how Cassie's startup was hemorrhaging cash, how she'd maxed their joint cards on investments that were really spa days and spin classes, how she'd pressured him to ask me for money, twisting the knife secret like a shank. And Cassie? She cracked too, admitting the blackmail was desperation. Her daddy had cut her off after the SEC sniff, threatening to disown the grandbaby if she didn't straighten up. I hate you for this, Riley, she whispered at one point, tears carving tracks through her mascara. You make it so easy to hate you. Always the martyr, stealing the spotlight.
Hate.
It hung there, potent as the bourbon's burn. I could have hated her back for seducing my boy, for unearthing graves best left closed. But hate's a slow poison, and I'd swigged enough.
Good, I said.
Use it. Channel that fire into something real. Not parties or threats. Be better for him. For that baby. Jake reached for her hand.
Tentative.
And she took it. A bridge rebuilt. Shaky but standing. By dawn, they left, Jake hugging me fierce at the door, whispering, I'm sorry,
Mom.
For everything. Cassie? She nodded, a truce in her eyes. Or maybe just exhaustion. We'll pay you back. The 10 grand. Don't, I replied. Consider it a down payment on therapy. Family kind. Alone again. I watched their taillights fade down Elm Street. The neighborhood stirring with joggers and dog walkers oblivious to the war we'd waged. Victory? Debatable. I'd canceled her dream night, waved a gun in her face, crossed lines that'd make Dr. Phil clutch his pearls. But I'd bought time, clawed back some power. Or so I thought. The fallout hit like a twister through Trailer Park. By Monday, the Nashville scene ran a blind item. Green Hills Gala goes bust. Insider sabotage or cold feet? Whispers at the Piggly Wiggly painted me as the villain, Riley Harlan, the gun-toting granny who torpedoed her own grandbaby's welcome party. Jake called midday, voice tight. Cassie's spiraling.
Mom.
Talking divorce. Says you humiliated her.
Divorce.
The word landed like a sucker punch. I met them at a neutral spot, Merchants. That retro diner on 12 South with the neon signs and bottomless coffee. Cassie looked wrecked, no makeup. Hair in a messy bun. Nursing ginger ale for the nausea. Jake picked at his biscuits and gravy. Appetite gone. She won't drop it, he said, eyes pleading. The party's off.
Fine. But you.
With the gun? That's not you,
Mom.
Not me. I leaned in, voice low over the sizzle of the grill. It was me protecting us. Like always. Cassie's the one who brought knives to a family dinner, metaphorical and otherwise. She met my gaze. Steel returning. You think you're the hero here? Canceling everything. Airing my dirt? I could have gone public. Riley. Ruined Jake. But I didn't. And now, my network's laughing behind my back. No sponsors. No buzz. Just pity.
Pity.
The great equalizer. I slid a folder across the Formica, PI's full dossier. Printed and bound like a bad novel. Then fight clean. Shut down the fencing op. Go legit with that fashion line. I'll even co-sign a small business loan, $5,000. No strings. But no more games. Her fingers trembled on the folder. Flipping pages. Emails to shady suppliers. Bank statements with offshore wires. This is extortion. Insurance, I corrected. We all got sins. Cassie. Mine's a cover-up. Yours is greed. Jake's is violence. Question is,
do we booty in together?
Or dig 'em up for the vultures? The waitress refilled our mugs. Oblivious. Humming along to Patsy Cline on the jukebox. Jake squeezed my knee under the table, gratitude. Or goodbye. Cassie zipped the folder. Tucked it into her tote. Truce. For the baby. But her smile? It didn't reach her eyes. Schemes within schemes. That one. Weeks blurred into a fragile peace. Christmas came quiet. Just us three at my place. String lights twinkling on the mantel. Turkey drying out because Cassie insisted on organic and forgot the baster. Jake gifted me a Kindle loaded with cozies, no revenge plots.
He joked.
Cassie, a spa voucher. Half-hearted. I gave them a crib I'd refinish myself. Sanded smooth as redemption. But under the eggnog glow, tension simmered. Late one night, Jake pulled me aside in the kitchen. She's seeing someone.
Mom.
A consultant from her old firm. Says it's networking. But my gut twisted. Betrayal 2.0. You believe her? He shrugged. Defeated. I want to. God. I do. I wanted to throttle her. But instead, I played wise elder.
Watch.
But don't accuse. Let her slip. She did. Spectacularly. New Year's Eve. While Nashville popped champagne at the Music City Bowl, Cassie hosted an intimate dinner at their loft, minus me. Of course. I got the invite via group text. Deleted it. But the PI? He tailed her. Photos hit my inbox at midnight. Her. Laughing too loud at a rooftop bar in the Gulch. Arms around a silver fox type in a Brioni suit. The consultant. Lips brushing ears. Hands lingering. Enough. Time for phase 2 of the bold move. Not a gun this time, smarter. I drove to their place at dawn. January 1st. Frost crunching under my tires. Let myself in with the spare key Jake insisted I keep for emergencies. Found them asleep in the king bed. Sheets tangled. Her side empty of guilt. Woke them with coffee and confrontation. Morning. Lovebirds. Or should I say, side piece and oblivious? Jake bolted up. Boxers ask you. Cassie groaned, pulling the duvet like armor. What the fuck? Riley. Proof, I said, tossing the printouts onto the bed. Grainy but damning. Timestamps. Locations. A text log from the consultant's public profile. Flirty emojis. Meetup chords. Networking. Huh. She sat up. Hair a wild halo. Eyes blazing. It's nothing. Stress relief. The baby's making me crazy. Jake's always at work. Save it. He was dressed in seconds. Face thunderous. Get out.
Mom.
This is between us. But I didn't budge.
No.
Son. It's between all of us. She blackmailed me with your past. Now she's cheating with yours, the future you're building. Walk away. Or I'll make sure her ethical line launches with a front-page exposé on Beaumont fraud. Ultimatum. Controversial as hell, me. Dictating their marriage? But love's a battlefield, and I'd fought dirtier wars. Cassie sobbed, theatrical, clutching Jake's arm. Don't listen to her. She's jealous. Always has been. Wants you all to herself. Jealous? Of her? I'd laugh if it didn't sting. Jake paced, the room shrinking around us. The city waking below with honks and hustle. The loft smelled like regret and expensive perfume, Chanel no. 5 mixed with the stale bite of last night's champagne flutes forgotten on the nightstand. Jake stopped pacing, fists clenched, veins popping like rebar in concrete. Both of you out.
Now.
I need space. His voice was gravel, the engineer's mind whirring to calculate loads it couldn't bear. Cassie scrambled for her robe, a silk kimono that screamed, I deserve better. Jake. Baby. Listen, it's not what it looks like. He's just a friend, helping with the business plan. Lies dripped from her like honey from a comb, sweet but sticky. I crossed my arms, leaning against the exposed brick wall, the chill seeping through my flannel. Friend with benefits? The texts say, can't wait to taste you again. Real helpful. That. Her slap came fast, open palm across my cheek, stinging like a wasp in July. I tasted copper, but held still. Jake grabbed her wrist mid-swing for seconds. Enough. The word echoed. A crack in the foundation. She yanked free. Tears real this time, smearing coal down her cheeks. You win, Riley. You always do. Turning my husband against me, like some backwoods media.
Media?
The bitch had read Greek tragedy between her Pilates sessions. Classy. I rubbed my face, heat blooming under the skin. This ain't about winning, Cassie. It's about truth. You demanded my money, my silence, my soul on a platter. Now face yours. Jake sank onto the bed, head in hands.
Why?
Cass, after everything, the baby,
The house.
the life we're supposed to have. She knelt before him, pageant queen desperate. Because you don't see me.
Not really.
You're buried in blueprints. Your mom's in your ear with her martyr bullshit.
He.
He listens. Makes me feel alive.
Alive.
As if our family was a morgue. The room pulsed with it, the raw, ugly underbelly of marriage. The kind they don't show in those Hallmark movies peddled at the Cracker Barrel. I could have stormed out, left them to their mess. But that secret from 15 years ago? It bound us tighter than blood. I'd taken the fall for Jake once. No way I'd let her drag him under now. A life's overrated, I said, voice softening. It's fleeting. Like that high from your daddy's yacht parties. But this, I gestured to her belly, the crib assembled in the corner like a promise. That's forever. Fight for it, or lose it. She looked up, defiance flickering to defeat. What do you want from me, Riley? My head on a pike?
Out.
Counseling real, with a pro, not some app. Shut down the side hustle. And the consultant? Block him. Or I hit send on this. I waved my phone. The exposé draft queued in my email. Heiress to scandal. Cassie Beaumont's double life. I'd written it last night. fueled by insomnia and ire. Names. Dates. The works. Controversial? Hell yes. Blackmail in return?
Pot. Kettle.
But in the gray zone of family warfare. Lines blur. Jake nodded. Slow. Do it.
Cass.
Or we're done. She rose, robe slipping off one shoulder, vulnerability cracking her armor.
Fine.
For you. For us. But as she dressed, muttering about toxic in-laws, I caught the glance she shot the window, the skyline calling like a siren song. They moved her networking files to my oversight after that. Weekly check-ins at my kitchen table, spreadsheets of fabric suppliers, legit ones. From organic mills in Carolina, marketing pitches scrubbed of fluff. Jake thawed. Even cracked a joke about naming the baby after me if it was a girl. Cassie? She played compliant, but her smiles were tight. Her text to me clipped. Progress report attached. Happy, not happy. Wary. Like watching a possum play dead, waiting for the twitch. February brought blizzards, rare for Nashville. But the South got socked. Schools closed. Roads glazed like donuts. We hunkered down. The three of us snowed in at their loft after my pipes froze. Board games by candlelight, power out. Jake teaching Cassie poker while I stirred gumbo on a camp stove. Laughter echoed. Tentative but real. For a moment, I saw it. The family we could have been. Sans the knives. Then the twist, the one that'd make you question every damn choice. Mid-March. Cassie's water broke early. 30 weeks. Chaos. Ambulance sirens wailing through slushy streets. Me driving like a bat out of hell to Vanderbilt Medical. Jake white-knuckled in the passenger seat. NICU blur, tiny girl. 3 pounds soaking wet. Hooked to tubes like a sci-fi prop. We named her Harper, after my ma. The one who taught me to forgive, but never forget.
Cassie.
Doped on magnesium sulfate. Grip my hand in recovery. I almost lost her. Riley. Because of the stress. You. Accusation. But laced with plea. Promise me, no more war. I squeezed back. Throat tight.
Promise.
We're in this. But promises? Fragile as March ice. While Harper fought in the isolette, Cassie mended, physically. Mentally, she dove into mommy blogs, lactation consultants, the whole Pinterest parade. Jake buried himself in work. Double shifts to cover the bills piling up like snowdrifts.
Me?
I became the shadow grandma, pureeing carrots, rocking Harper during visits, whispering lullabies about steel magnolias who bent but didn't break. It was idyllic. Almost. Until the consultant resurfaced. Not in person, smarter than that. An anonymous tip to Jake's firm. Check your wife's emails. Affairs and fraud. HR called him in. Security clearance review pending. Jake confronted her that night. In their nursery-turned-war zone. While I bottle-fed Harper in the hall. I deleted everything, Cassie wailed. Voice carrying through the baby monitor. It was him. Payback for ghosting. Jake's roar. And the money trail? 10 grand to a Cayman account last month? That's not him.
Cass.
That's you. The fencing. Back on. Sly as a fox in henhouse. She'd rerouted samples through a shell LLC. Skimming just enough to fund Harper's organic crib sheets and that Birkin she'd found on sale.
Greed.
The old demon. Claws sunk deep. I burst in. Harper fussing against my chest. Enough lies. We end this now. Cassie whirled, eyes wild. You put him up to it.
Didn't you?
Stirring shit from your witch's brew kitchen. No, I said.
Calm as the eye.
But I knew. The PI flagged it weeks ago. Gave you rope, hoping you'd hang it up yourself. Jake slumped against the changing table. Defeated. Why? Cass, Harper's here. We could have made it. She crumpled, sliding to the floor, sobs racking her frame. I don't know. Fear? The Beaumont name. It's poison without the money. I thought. One last score. For us. For us. The oldest lie. Jake looked at me, question in his eyes. Divorce papers or duct tape. Forgive or forget. The climax hung there, polarizing as a Trump rally in a blue state. No heroes. Just survivors picking shrapnel from their hides. I made the call. Controversial to the core. We cover it. One time. I know a guy at the DA, old poker buddy. He'll bury the tip if we return the cash, and she testifies on a related bust. But Cassie, you flip. Go state's witness on your daddy's operation. Full immunity. Betrayal within betrayal. Turn on blood for salvation.
Jake blanched. Mom, that's
Destroying her family. Like she tried with ours? Cassie lifted her head, mascara rivers on her cheeks. You'd make me rat? For real? Or jail? I said flatly. Harper needs a mom, not a cell block visitor. She waited. The room's silent save Harper's coups. Minutes stretched like taffy.
then. Nod.
Okay.
For the baby.
Twist delivered. Debate ignited. Was I savior or saboteur? Pushing her to snitch. Heroic justice or vengeful overreach? The feds moved fast after that. Cassie wired confessions from a safe house. Her testimony cracking Beaumont imports wide open. Money laundering through wine shipments. Tax evasion sweeter than muscadine. Daddy Dearest got indicted. Assets frozen. Cassie? Witness protection light. New ID in Charlotte. A starter fund from seized accounts. Jake filed for separation. Custody battle looming. I love her.
Mom.
But trust? Gone. He moved back home. Harper's nursery in my spare room. The house alive with her gurgles and my weary bones. Cassie visited weekly. Supervised. Eyes haunted by the empire she toppled. You got your revenge, she'd say, bouncing Harper on her knee. Happy now? Happy?
Hell no.
Just even. The bold move? Canceling more than a party, lives, loyalties, legacies. And, in the quiet nights, gun locked away, but memory loaded, I wondered, who was the real monster here? Spring thawed Nashville slow. Dogwoods blooming pink against the gray of what-ifs. Harper hit 4 months like a freight train, chubby cheeks. First gummy smiles that could melt the ice caps. Jake threw himself into fatherhood, trading bridge blueprints for bottle schedules. His engineering precision now timing burps and naps. Our house on Elm Street? It transformed. Bassinet in the den. Stacks of onesies on the couch. The scent of baby powder overriding the ghosts of bourbon and blood. But peace is a fickle mistress in the Harlan line. Cassie's visits stretched longer. From an hour to afternoons. Her Charlotte apartment a vague excuse. She'd arrive in sensible jeans, farewell to Louboutins, bearing booties she'd knit herself. All earnest edges and forced chatter about colic remedies. Jake watched her like a hawk, love lingering but leashed. She's trying, Mom, he'd say. Over late-night whiskeys on the porch. For Harper. Trying. I'd tried once. Burying Jake's sin under layers of lies and loyalty. Look where it got us. A fractured fairy tale with a colicky princess at center stage. I nodded, but my gut churned. The feds had her on a short leash, depositions,
Polygraphs.
the whole informant grind. Daddy Beaumont's trial loomed in federal court. Charleston. A media circus with CNN embeds and talking heads dissecting the heiress turncoat. She flipped fully. That one. Testified in a navy sheath. Hair in a chignon. Voice steady as she detailed the shell companies. The coded invoices for vintage ports that were really bearer bonds. The DA called her brave. The tabloids? Backstabbing bride. Her old sorority sisters unfriended her en masse. Vanderbilt alumni newsletters scrubbed her name. Revenge? Sure. But Pyrrhic, the kind where you win the battle and wake up wondering if the war was worth the widows.
Me?
I was the unseen puppeteer. Strings pulled from Nashville shadows. Controversial didn't cover it. Engineering a snitch from my daughter-in-law. All to save my son. Friends from the clerk's days whispered, Riley Harlan. The fixer gone rogue. Church ladies crossed the street, clutching their pearls. But Harper's laugh, it drowned the judgment. A tiny rebellion against the darkness. The climax crested in May. Beaumont's sentencing hearing streamed live because Jake insisted on watching. Closure, he called it. We gathered in the living room. Takeout barbecue from Martin steaming on the coffee table. Harper dozing in her swing. Cassie joined via Zoom from a hotel in Raleigh. Face pale on the screen. Flanked by handlers in cheap suits. The judge, a grizzled type with a drawl like aged cheddar, hammered the gavel on 20 years for fraud. 10 for laundering. Flashbulbs popped as Beaumont Sr. was led away in cuffs. His glare at the camera pure venom. You did this. Cassandra. My own blood. Her pixelated sob hit like a gut punch. He deserved it. Riley. Right? For all the poison he fed me. But doubt cracked her voice. The flip-flopper in her surfacing. Schemes within schemes. Who was the villain now? Daddy the kingpin? Or daughter the dagger? Jake muted the feed. Pulled her close on screen. You did what you had to. We're proud. Proud. I bit my tongue. Pride's a luxury. Survival's the bill. Later. Offline. She cornered me in the chat window. This your endgame? Me broken. You queen of the ashes. I typed slow. Deliberate. No game. Cass. Just balance. You took from us, now rebuild. She logged off. Connection severed like a umbilical cord. Days later. The letter arrived handwritten. Postmarked Charlotte. Riley, I'm leaving for good. Witness relocation. Seattle. New name. New start. Tell Jake I'm sorry. For the affair. The lies. The baby I might not see grow. But you, I hate you most. You made me choose. And I chose wrong every time. Burn this. I didn't burn it. Filed it with the PI's dossier. A final exhibit in our private tribunal. Jake read it stone-faced, then crumpled it, tossing it into the fire pit during a backyard Asmore's night. Her choice, he said, poking embers. Ours now.
Ours.
Father and daughter. With me as the third wheel, or the glue. Summers blurred. Harper's first crawl across the den rug. Jake's promotion to project lead on the new pedestrian bridge over the river. Dates for him, cautious, with a pediatrician named Lila who baked killer cornbread.
Me?
I dated the quiet, editing gigs ramping up, a book club that dissected Gillian Flynn over Merlot, the occasional line dance at the honky-tonk to shake off the shadows. But the twist, the real gut-wrencher, the one that'd spark bar fights and Reddit threads, came in September, Harper's 6-month mark. Cassie resurfaced, not with tears or threats, but a bombshell, full custody petition, filed pro SE from Seattle. "I've cleaned up," her lawyer's email read. "Sober. Employed at a co-op. Therapy 3 times a week. The child's mother has rights."
Rights.
After the flips, the fraud, the flight, Jake lawyered up, war drums beating. Court dates loomed, mediators droning about best interests. I testified. Of course, Riley Harlan, character witness for the defense, painted Cassie as the storm we'd weathered, but the judge, a no-nonsense black woman from Memphis, she saw the gray. MS. Beaumont's reformed, she ruled after hearings that dragged like molasses. Joint custody. Supervised starts. Build from there.
Joint.
Polarizing as hell. Reward for redemption. Or slap to the loyal. Jake appealed. But deep down, knew it stuck. Cassie won rounds by losing everything else.
And me?
The bold moves architect. Now collateral in the custody crossfire. Her final text to me. Post-ruling. "You created this monster. Riley." The flipper. "Thanks for the legacy." Legacy. In the end, it was bi-tragic. No tidy bow. Harper toddled between homes. Jake and Cassie co-parenting through apps and awkward handoffs at neutral parks. Love flickered, therapy dates, family picnics where I'd play buffer, gun long since sold at a pawn shop for scrap. Cassie, edges sanded by single mom grind and West Coast rain. "Maybe we could have been sisters," she said once. Over coffee at a Brentwood Starbucks. Harper smashing Cheerios between us. Sisters? In another life. Sans the knives. But ours? Forged in fire. Tempered by fallout.
Now.
As fall paints the leaves gold and crimson, I sit on that back porch. Harper on my lap. Jake grilling burgers nearby. The Cumberland murmurs secrets to the wind. And I wonder, was the revenge sweet? Or just necessary? Like pulling a splinter before infection sets in? You decide. Hero. Villain. Or the fool who thought family was fixable. In America. Land of second chances and loaded chambers. The debate's eternal. And damn if it doesn't keep the blood pumping.